We just heard about the perceived war on Christmas. Well, many feel that could be a byproduct of a culture that becomes too politically correct. Joe Battaglia, author of the book The Politically Incorrect Jesus, sat down with JD last week to talk about that as well. And here's that interview.
The problem that I see as a journalist and as a broadcaster and as a communicator professionally is that political correctness asks us to assent to things that we don't believe in, and then to even believe in things that aren't even true. And I think in this particular case, the idea of not telling the truth, not being truthful, not stating the obvious is never the right thing to do. And as a journalist, it's totally the wrong thing to do. And I think we have just stepped too finely into the area of, I don't want to offend anybody to our detriment. And I go through a lot of how I think this is intellectually dishonest and how it can be potentially dangerous.
Yeah, especially when we remember the scriptural admonition, you shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free. Now, there's also following that truth spoken in love, but there are times when people are ignoring the truth, as you say. And I'm just interested, the here and now, as opposed to Jesus' earthly ministry 2,000 years ago. What are the parallels? How did Jesus deal with political correctness in his day?
Well, I think if we look at who Jesus is and how he acted, he always rose above the politics and the polemics of the culture. And we are fraught with that today, of course. And he always stated that which is true. Now, when you look at who he was, and I did a study on this as a journalist early on, as to how I could design and say a working definition of my profession biblically, I found that logos was an important word in how one communicates. And that means it's the embodiment of truth, the highest form of truth. And my responsibility and my plumb line is to say the things that are true. I often say that the obvious should become obvious and is obvious. And I think we're just not about that any longer today. But he rose above it. He's my model. He's the one I follow. And as a result, my perspective should be always one to say what is, not to sidestep it because I think it's offensive to somebody, but to actually be the one who says, here is what it is. Let's tell it as it is, and truth is always able to stand on its own.
Once again, the name of the book is The Politically Incorrect Jesus, and we thank Joe Battaglia for his time. Now it's time for The Way You See It, your comments via social media. And we hear first tonight from Daryl, who is upset about the House Republicans caving in on the spending bill, and he writes, yes, Republicans being betrayed is correct. Republican leaders seething over the spending bill, nothing short of more BS and the usual lies coming from Ryan and the House Republicans. It's getting better all the time watching this circus. Next, we hear from Travis, who offers his assessment of the 2016 election. If the Republican Party doesn't nominate Donald Trump as their nominee, we will lose once again to a Democrat, and it's time that everyone understands that. And we thank you for your comments. And if you want to weigh in, we have several ways to do so. Send your comments in to me at newsmaxtv.com/comments. You can also use Facebook or Twitter. And that's going to do it for tonight. I'm Rick Blackwell, and for JD Hayworth, I'll be back tomorrow night. See you then. Thanks for watching us right here on Newsmax Prime.